hanging out with me here today at Pam's Pops Up. At Pam's Pops Ups. At Pam's Pop Ups. This is an extension of my other channels, Cooking at Pam's Place, Pam's POV, and at the Scaredy Cat Gardener. Over here, we'll discuss meaningful topics, things that my subscribers from the various channels ask me throughout the comments that I don't have an opportunity to answer. And sometimes we'll even demonstrate. Sometimes we'll cook. Sometimes we'll demonstrate tricks, tips, and hacks. I am tongue-tied today, but thank you all so much for coming. Hey, Ola Joe. Hey, Ann. So glad you all could join me. This is not going to be a very long live, but I actually had a subscriber that asked me a question on one of my videos on my cooking channel, Cooking at Pam's Place. What is wrong with GMOs? They didn't know what was wrong with GMOs. They didn't know if anything was wrong with GMOs. So I told them, I said, you know what? That's a pretty lengthy topic. So what I'll do is go live and I'll talk about GMOs. And GMOs, let's define GMOs. GMO is genetically modified organisms. Okay. It's also referred to on many products as bioengineered foods. So you have to make a decision for yourself. You know, I do a lot of videos about reading labels and things of that nature. You have to make the decision for yourself, but you cannot make a decision one way or the other without being informed, without knowing what you're reading, without knowing to read it, not knowing what it could do or may not do. Everybody doesn't have a problem with GMOs. And to be honest, there are actually some benefits to GMOs, but there are negatives to GMOs too. And so for each of us, we have to make that decision for ourselves. Is it something good? Is it something bad? Is it something we want to consume or deal with? GMO is not just in food, it's in a lot of products. And in some of those products, it's probably more beneficial than it is negative. But we're here to talk about the food aspect of it. Hey, Daku, how are you? How are you? KTJ, welcome in. Tiffany, hello, hello, hello. Hey, Kaylin, how are you? So glad to see all of you in here. If I missed anybody, thank you all for being here. The chat's going up, so I can't see it quite often. If you see me looking to the side, that's because I can see it a little bit better on my computer right there. Don't forget to hit the like button as well as share it out. And if you are not subscribed to Pam's Pop-Ups, please go ahead and subscribe. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers. Okay, so genetically modified foods and things that we may consume can have long-term and short-term effects. Allergies, okay? It can kick up some allergies that you may already have that may have been at bay. You can also be allergic to some of the GMOs. So we have to be careful with that respect. Also, you have things when it comes to GMO, you have a level of toxicity as well in those GMOs. So these are some of the things that we have to look out for. It's not all bad. There are some good things within the GMOs, but you also have to look at the environmental effects of GMOs on our plants and things like that. So let me stop here for a minute and just go over GMOs in general. So what happens when you have a product or food, consuming something that is GMO or bioengineered? Those products that you see on the labels, it says contains a bioengineered food. That means something in there has been altered. Typically, Not necessarily always, but typically when you have a GMO food, what you have is a food, let's just say an apple, okay? You have an apple and they're trying to make another apple, but you want this other apple maybe not to turn brown, okay? Every time a GMO product is manufactured, there's something as a result that they're looking for. It could be a trait. It could be the size of it. It could be the yield of it. There are many things. So depending on what the outcome is that they want to get, this is the gene that they're extracting from the original plant, food, product, fruit, whatever. They're extracting this gene and then they're inserting this gene into another one, which will alter the originality of what they're inserting it in. Now, as I said in the beginning, everybody has to make a decision for themselves, okay? Have I consumed GMOs? Absolutely. It is so hard to get around it. Have I consumed bioengineered food? Absolutely. Okay. At my age, yes, I've consumed them because there was a time in my life that I had no clue. Okay. Now, I personally try to stay away from them. Sometimes it's unavoidable and we can't help that. But with anything, you don't want to, or I don't want to necessarily consume it constantly, okay? Because when this gene is taken from the original one and it's inserted into here, the problem is you don't really know where this original gene comes from because they're extracting the gene from the original whatever, which could be a plant, an animal, bacteria, and even viruses. Okay? If they're going to extract some bacteria from whatever is over here in my right hand to put it in my left hand, it's going to depend on the outcome that they're looking for as to what gene is being extracted and where that gene is coming from. And that's my biggest problem. I don't know where the original source is coming from. I don't know if it's a bacteria. I don't know if it's a virus. I don't know if it's whatever, okay? If you read the labels on a lot of products, you'll find that they have, what's it called? What is it called? Glyphosate in it. That's a product in Roundup, okay? So why do I want to consume something that they're putting into a chemical to kill weeds and things like that? And if it has the ability to help kill the weed, what does it have the ability to do to me? I don't know that. I don't know what the long-term effects would be if I were to consume something like this constantly. Okay? So chances are, if we consume something that has GMOs or bioengineered food occasionally or every now and then, it's probably not going to have a major effect unless you find that you are allergic to it. Okay? Allergic to something that's in there. So again, I can't stress this enough. We must make the decisions for ourselves. So when you see me doing these videos on my other channels, and if it's about food, it's probably on my cooking channel, then it's not fear mongering. It's not telling you what to do. It's telling you to be aware. It's telling you to read the label, okay? And then make a decision. Is this product what I really want? Can I find this same product without all this in it? Okay? And that brings me to a whole nother subject, which I'll do a whole nother live on that, and that's fortified foods, okay? That is fortified foods. GMOs, it's a very, very complex process. And I made it simple because I know I would get some of it wrong if I tried to, because I'm not a scientist or anything like that, all right? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Hey, Tiffany, how are you doing? You have to take into consideration what the GMO product is and what it's not, all right? When you have seedless fruit, okay, now I know a lot of us, including me, I would much prefer a seedless grape than a seeded grape, simply because it's easier to eat. Now, that's my head talking, or one side of my head talking. Now, the other side says, but how did you get a seedless fruit from a fruit that needs a seed to grow? Same thing with your seedless watermelons. You have to plant a seed for it to grow, okay? So now what has been done to get a seedless watermelon or a seedless grape or seedless lemons? Okay? I started a lemon tree myself. I took the seeds from a lemon and put them in some dirt. I didn't do nothing else to it. I just took the seeds out of the lemon, got a pot, filled it with some soil, and stuck the lemon in it, and a tree grew. Okay? Now, I'm in a climate that it ended up dying because it froze and I forgot to bring it in, and that's on me. But my point is, it takes a seed to grow. So if it takes a seed to grow, then how are you going to end up with a seedless anything if it wasn't modified? If something wasn't done to that original one to make it modified, okay? I grow plenty of stuff. And if it's got a seed in it when I plant it, it's got a seed in it when it comes out the ground, all right? Those have been genetically modified, all right? So what are you putting in your body is a decision that you have to make. Nobody can make that decision for you. But these are the things that are wrong with GMOs. And this is in my opinion, all right? You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with me. But this is in my opinion, what is wrong with GMOs and bioengineered food, all right? Why do I need to have bioengineered food when I can grow it, right? I can grow it myself. It's not bioengineered. I took the seed and stuck it in the dirt, okay? And it grew. And I understand that one of the benefits, and I understand this, and yes, this can be a benefit. This can be a huge benefit. But again, individually, you must weigh that benefit. One benefit of having GMOs and bioengineered food is that, say you're a farmer and you have a apple orchard. I keep using apples. I don't even like apples like that. Anyway, you have an apple orchard and the weather went wacky, something happened, and your orchard only produced 10,000 apples, okay? Just 10,000 apples. And you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to take to market? What am I going to sell as a farmer? And then you have hundreds of thousands upon thousands of people that need to purchase these apples. Well, now then you have another crop, and that secondary crop, same apple orchard, but it has bioengineered, it has GMOs in those apples, and the gene was meant to produce a bigger yield. So this crop over here that has GMOs and bioengineered apples in it, instead of it producing 10,000, it produced 10 million. Okay? So now not only do you have something to take to market, but you have people that can come and buy it. You have more produce for people to be able to eat something. Now, if you have nothing to eat, even I believe that something is better than nothing. Okay? So, in that respect, it can be a huge benefit. All right? But now, if you're going to charge me $5 for something that's been genetically modified, there goes the benefit. All right? You have to then weigh again what's most important to you. Okay? What's most important to you? And this is why, as a gardener, we have the saying, grow your own, grow your own. Now, I don't have an apple tree in my backyard, and I probably will never have an apple tree in my backyard. But I'm growing blueberries, and I'm growing raspberries, and I'm going to grow other things that I can grow. So maybe I can't get that apple and make an apple pie or eat apples, but I can get my blueberries and I can make a blueberry pie. So sometimes we have to make substitutes, and sometimes we have to say, is this worth it, or what else can I do? What else can I do to sustain what I need? And again, you know what? We are used to a variety, all right? But if all you can grow is blueberries, tomatoes, and lettuce, you will survive, okay? You will survive, all right? And the beauty about growing something like a tomato, and you may say, well, I'm allergic to tomatoes. Okay, well, find something you're not allergic to. I'm just using this as an example, okay? The tomato is one of the easiest things to grow, okay? If you can get one tomato plant to start growing, you can take that. I had it happen this year. My tomato plant grew so tall that it bent over in a storm. And when it bent over in a storm, it bent over and it fell into another pot that I had. Not the whole thing, just the branch that bent. One branch bent over and it like fell into the pot. Me, I was being lazy, so I didn't move it. I left it there. And after about a month, guess what happened? It took root. It took root in the new pot. So I had a whole nother tomato plant growing. And it's easy to grow our own something. I always try to encourage people, and a lot of people say, you know what, I don't have any outdoor space. There are plenty of things you can grow indoors. You can grow indoors even if you have to grow hydroponically, okay, in water. You can grow indoors, all right? If you can provide light, you can provide food and water for the plant. There is really no reason, unless you don't have a place to live, that you can't grow something, okay? You can grow something, all right? And one thing I can say is that in the meantime, and even if you say, well, I ain't growing nothing, I don't want to grow nothing, that ain't my thing, ain't doing it, fine. All I want people to do is to be aware. And I wanted to come on today and answer the question for the subscriber, because I get a lot of questions, but I don't get a chance to answer all of them. And I thought this would be a good platform to answer a lot of those questions on. And they just wanted to know what's wrong with GMOs. And this is surface right here. I'm just touching on the surface, but what I'm in hopes that I am doing is to get you thinking. And when you go to buy something, read the label. All right. Is this GMO? All right. If you see a seedless apple in the store, you need to go look for the seeded ones. All right. And like I said before, I would love a seedless grape because they're so tiny and they're easy and the seeds are so small. And who wills to deal with that? But you have to weigh. Do I want to deal with that? Or do I just want to consume the seedless stuff? All right. And so be on the lookout. And sometimes it's hidden. Okay? Sometimes, and I don't have it right here, but I want to say it was on cornstarch. I think it was on cornstarch, and I did that video on my cooking channel. And in the ingredients, it didn't say anything about GMOs or anything like that. It just had whatever it had in there. Then on the side of the bottle or the container, somewhere on the other side, it said contains a bioengineered food. All right? So it's cornstarch. So that bioengineered food, my guesstimation would be that it was corn. Okay? Because corn, most corn is bioengineered. All right? And do I eat corn? Yes, I eat corn. That's one of the things that I say, okay, I'm going to eat it. All right? But I don't eat corn all the time. All right? I would say I would consume corn probably, I don't even eat cornbread that much. Maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I'm just not big on it. Certain meals, I want it, I'll have it, and I'm done with it. All right. Um, but it's when we start consuming it on a everyday basis. Okay. It was cornstarch. I remember that video. Okay, Michelle, great. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Michelle? How are you? So yes, read the labels. And these are the things that's wrong with the GMO, all right? It's been genetically modified. That means it's been done in a lab. And as I mentioned, the genes they are using depend on the outcome that they're looking for. So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to take this gene from this apple and put it in this apple, and then we're going to have a stripe apple. It doesn't work like that. It's based off of the outcome. And we as the consumer, we don't know what the original outcome that these people, scientists, labs, whomever is creating the GMO. We don't know what their original intention is. Was it for a higher yield? Was it to provide something seedless because they think that's what people want? We don't know. Okay? And that original gene could come from plants, animals, bacteria, and viruses. And those are the things that we have to be really aware of. You see right there what that is. Okay. Yes, so GMO is genetically modified. All right? And it is dangerous, in my opinion. And I personally try to stay away from it as much as possible. I don't think that it is 100%, you're 100% able to stay away from it unless you are truly, truly, truly homesteading, growing your own everything. All right? Everything. Everything. Because GMO is not just in food. There's a lot of other products that we use that are GMOs. They're genetically modified. Everything. All right? So it's kind of hard to stay away from it. But we have to do the best that we can do as much as possible. Yes, Michelle says, scan the QR codes and you will find a lot of information on products, those that have them. And Dale says, we grow a lot, but certainly not everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you are growing a lot, then that means everything you're growing, you know what's in it, and that's another thing. These plants, that when they genetically modified, also makes these plants and things that they're growing in massive production. Sometimes they're resistant to pesticides, things like Roundup. They become resistant to it. And that means they're spraying more and more and more to try to get rid of whatever it is. Weeds also become resistant to these chemicals because of the GMOs. And when they become resistant, then the weeds just grow and grow and grow, and they can't get rid of them. So then they're spraying, spraying, spraying. So then you have extra, and you have them a lot constantly going on. But again, we must make the decision for ourselves, each of us individually, for ourselves and our family. I can't sit here and tell anyone, don't buy anything with GMO in it. Nope, I can't do that. And that is not my place to do that. I am just expressing the things that I have learned over time. I am just expressing the things that I know. I am expressing the things that I do. And it's up to you and your family what you consume and what you do. But if you are aware of it, okay? If you are aware of it, all right, then you can make an informed decision for yourself, all right? I have had people come in my comments and they say, ain't nothing wrong with GMO stuff. It's good. It is good. That's another thing that GMO does. It enhances the flavor. Okay? And this is why we want to go back. Like, oh my God, that was delicious. Ooh-wee, I'm getting ready to cook that again. I want some more of that. That was good. And then you go back. And then you buy more. And they make more. And they create more. Because you ate more. Okay? It enhances the flavor. So you're able to say, what's wrong with it? That was delicious. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, it is delicious. And that's what they want. Because the more you eat it, the more you buy it, the more they sell, the more they make. All right? At the end of the day, no matter what it is, at the end of the day, there's a dollar bill behind it, okay? It's a dollar bill behind it. They're not spending the money, the time, the effort to do anything, to make anything that's GMO if there's not a dollar behind it. Hello, Johnny Mac. How are you? Happy holidays to you, my friend. So, there's a dollar bill behind it, all right? And they are looking to make that dollar bill, all right? So we have to remember that as well. They're not doing anything because they feel like, oh, give the people what they need. Oh, give the people what they want. We wish it were so. And again, be careful when you buy things in the grocery store and it's seedless, because it took a seed to make it grow. And if you're buying things that are seedless, how did it get seedless when you needed a seed to make it grow? Somebody can explain that to me. I'd be a happy camper, all right? It's been genetically modified, all right? GMOs. Things they're not telling you. This is what's going on with the GMOs, all right? So I just wanted to pop up and let you all know my opinion about it, all right? Michelle says, I don't purchase any from any supermarkets. Yeah, if you can do that, that's amazing, okay? Yes, Michelle, God gave us seeds for a reason. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so I wanted to pop up and talk about GMOs. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers. I would appreciate that. Share it out. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All right? Thank you all so much for coming. And I will see you all next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye-bye.